Welcome trader to the weekly Forex video. Today's focus is on the euro dollar and dollar yen bullish rally that I'm expecting later this week. First of all though, be aware of these disclaimers. This webinar is shown to a global audience, may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence and contact the appropriate entity for more details. Also please be aware that trading foreign exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Let me start with the dollar yen here, looking at the 1 hour chart at this moment. And price is basically looking like it's trying to make an uptrend again, or it's trying to make at least a rally here, got good momentum to the upside and making a corrective downside, bouncing off the 50 fib, if I put the fib from the entire bottom to the entire top. So I think there's a good chance that the price could break above this orange trend line. Any good 1 hour or 4 hour candle like this breaking above it with decent size, not too small, with a close near the high, I think could be a decent breakout candle. And I'll be looking for continuation up to the R1 and potentially to the minus 272 target at 112.50, 75. So that's what I'm looking for, is a bullish breakout. If price does not do that and actually breaks through the support level indicated by the blue and makes a bearish breakout, I would expect price to maybe pause at the 61.8, but eventually make it all the way down to the 78 or 88.6 fib, which could still be a bouncing spot for the dollar yen. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of a breakout to the downside, in terms of a breakout to the upside, and also in terms of a bullish bounce at support if price would get that low. So that's what I'm looking for on the dollar yen now at the moment in a triangle. I mean, ultimately in a 4 hour chart, there's definitely good momentum to be found to the downside here. So I think that it could be true that a test of R1 or R2 could still see some significant bounce as well from those levels. So I'll be keeping an eye on those levels too, the R1 and R2, for a potential turnaround on the dollar yen as well. It's not something I'm ruling out. But for the moment, I do think that this will expand into a 3-wave correction at least. That's why at this moment, despite the bearishness on the dollar yen 4 hour chart, I'm looking for a bullish breakout first, and perhaps a bearish breakout and a bullish bounce as well. So that's what I'm looking for the dollar yen. I'm going to take a look at the euro dollar and pound dollar in just a second. First of all, though, be aware of the webinar schedule we have this week. Nennet and I taking a look at a long list of things. For instance, Nennet has his weekly recap. I have intraday strategy webinar basically on Wednesday, and also Tuesday I'm taking a look at the live markets. And Nennet also takes a look at the live markets on Wednesday. And Tuesday we have an educational webinar looking at trading methods with oscillators. So there's a lot of things here going on. Please pause the video here to take a look at the webinars that you would like to join. And go to admiralmarkets.com/education/webinars to join. Let's move on to the euro dollar, also looking at the 1 hour chart. And I see that price is basically, let me zoom in, struggling with the Keltner. Admiral Keltner is a band, pretty much like the Bollinger Band, but I like it more personally. And you can see that it's really struggling to break below it. And that could be a potential bounce. Let's see. Price has already made several candles that are not able to break this low. I'm interested to see if price can make a bounce and a break above resistance up to the pivot point, make a bull flag, and perhaps continue even higher to the R1. That, of course, remains to be seen. Depends on if price makes a bull flag at the pivot point. But I'm looking for a potential breakout here to the upside on the euro dollar 1 hour chart. So the reason is basically pretty strong downside, definitely, but divergence between these bottoms I think could create a correction now for price to reach the pivot point, for instance, and perhaps more. So I think it could be a reversal time, basically. If you look at the 4 hour chart and you put a fib from here to here, price has reached the 61.8 fib. That is the golden ratio. Another reason why price could be bouncing here for a retracement up to one of these two levels, which could also be, again, strong resistance spots, by the way. So if price, however, breaks the bottom, breaks this bottom, breaks the 61.8, then there could be a continuation down to the 78.6 fib. What I would probably be looking for is a 1 hour kind of bear flag. So if we get a break like this, some kind of correction like that, and I would look for continuation down to the 78.6 fib. That is if price breaks below the 61.8 fib. Now from a higher time frame daily chart, what I'm specifically interested in is if this is still all one correction like this, or is this the end of the correction and this actually start of the downtrend? That answer, I think, depends on how price, if price bounces here, but how? Especially how? If there's a three-wave up like this, then this could be a pretty good chance that this is the start of a downtrend, and we could see a downtrend continuation like this. All right, so I'm going to keep an eye on if price bounces at the 61.8, how does it bounce? Especially if it's like a three-wave like this, well, that could be the signal that a downtrend is near. Pound dollar, basically looking at, well, I think a three-wave correction. This could be 1, this could be 2, this could be 3, or this could still be 2, and we have a three-wave within 2. So, from my perspective, both are possible. This morning I was leaning, in my wave analysis, I was leaning towards upside because this looked like a neat triangle. I was waiting for a break to the upside, but it didn't happen. It's breaking to the downside. So if price is now approaching the weekly pivot point and these tops, so if price breaks through that zone, I think that this is actually bearish. This could be a first part of a bearish move. This could be the second, and we could expect a third part, I think. So if price breaks below that zone, there's this bearish zone here, this bearish zone, and then another bearish zone as price breaks through these support levels, indicated by blue and green. So this is the kind of downside I'm looking for, but definitely price still has to break below pivot point and those tops. Or if price turns around here, stays above the pivot, stays above 125 as well, that is, of course, a psychological round level, then I think that if it does bounce, it could be an attempt to retest 125.75, and that is a bounce or break spot too. That particular bounce or break spot, I will be monitoring probably on a daily chart, maybe on a 4-hour chart to see how price will respond. Will be a bounce, bearish bounce, or to be a bullish breakout. So I think maybe the daily chart could be the best for that particular decision zone or point of confluence, as Nennet would call it. So interesting spot. I think it's going to basically make a retracement. If it does, I would put a fib like this, and eventually could get down all the way to the -272 target with its ups and downs. If it turns around here at the pivot point, then it might break and continue, and this could be the 1, 2, 3 movement. Or is this a 1, 2, 3 within blue too? So I'm keeping an eye on these levels to make that judgment. I think both are possible. I'm just keeping an eye on the green pivot point and the red trend line for the moment to see which of those two is gonna occur and which one is more likely. More analytics, articles, webinars, information about the Admiral Keltner and the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition that has a lot more of those extra tools, tons of those tools, not similar tools I meant. Go to admiralmarkets.com or check out, of course, social media. Thanks, and wish you good trading. Cheers.